Hasidic Jews like to tell the story of Shmuley, a man who goes through his community slandering the rabbi. One day, filled with remorse, Shmuley approaches the rabbi to ask for penance. So the rabbi tells him to get some feather pillows, cut them open, and spread the feathers to the winds. When Shmuley returns to tell the rabbi that he had completed his task, the rabbi then instructs him to go gather the feathers. Shmuley protests, telling the rabbi, of course, that's impossible. And the rabbi says, I know that. And while you may sincerely wish to make amends, it's just as difficult to repair the damage done through your words as it is to recover those feathers. I'm sure anyone who's been to Jewish summer camp knows a similar story told with a tube of toothpaste or something of the like. Once the toothpaste is out, it doesn't go back in. And it all seems cute, and it all seems even trite if you want to, but I think there's a real pressure here in these stories, especially the ones of Jewish origin, because some of us teach our children the adage, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. And Judaism clearly doesn't seem to agree with that approach. In fact, the Talmud teaches that our tongue is such a powerful weapon that it needs to be locked away and kept hidden between the protective devices of the teeth and the mouth, lest it be misused. And the rabbis mused that a loose tongue is like an arrow. Once it's shot, you never know who it's really going to hit. Clearly, the ancient sages were not great archers. And this evening, we concluded our tefillah, our central prayer of every Jewish service, not with a message of gratitude or reassurance, but with words of warning. Elohai netzor leshoni meira usfatai medaber mirma. My God, guard my speech from evil and my lips from deception. Our sages crafted this prayer as a poignant reminder that our words, the same instrument that we use to praise God, the same instrument that we use to enervate and to inspire, the same instrument that we use rather presumptuously, one might say, to demand God's attention, we use this same instrument to devalue and dehumanize, instantly belittling, undermining, or driving us from one another. And what's more, whether they're spoken, printed, typed, or swiped, our words are contagious. From ridicule to gossip to lies to hate speech, the words we use to hurt others easily find narrators ready to repeat them to whatever audiences they can find. In fact, our collective appetite for what our sages call lashon hara, the evil tongue, has created an entire industry in rumors and deceit, spanning gossip magazines, news entertainment networks, usually under the guise of news networks, and social media. Today, it seems we live in an age where the loudest, most brazen, most vulgar voices garner the most attention. And so it's worth asking how we as Jews find our voices amidst the tumult. Do we simply quiet ourselves, as the Talmud suggests, withdrawing our voices from the ever-increasing din that surrounds us? Or is there a way to bind our words to a sacred intent, to add our voice to the greater conversation in a way that moves us forward instead of backward? Luckily, our tradition is concerned with these questions as well. In this week's Torah portion, Devarim, we find the Israelites perched upon the banks of the Jordan, waiting to cross into the Promised Land. But before the Israelites can go forth, Moses has Devarim, words for them, and not just a few words. The entire book of Deuteronomy comprises the speech that Moses delivers to the Israelites. And all this from a man who begins his journey by telling God, Lo ish devarim anochi. I've never been a man of words. Clearly, by the end of his journey, Moses has become a man of words, a man of many words, in fact, words that uplift, words that create opportunities for holiness. I'm going to hit this one more time unless I do that. And it really wants me to hit it, so we're just going to do that. I promise to raise it back for you. Words that pave the way towards a brighter future. So how did he get there? How do we get there? In a word, slowly. Moses begins his journey with a spokesperson. Just as the Talmud recommends, he locks his tongue away, allowing his brother Aaron to speak for him. It's only with time, purposefully relaying God's instructions again and again, first to Aaron, then to the Israelite leaders, and finally to the Israelite people, that Moses discovers his voice. And here in the book of Deuteronomy, uses it thoughtfully, offering necessary guidance to a generation of Israelites born in the wilderness. And despite the Talmud's warning, Judaism does not want us to silence ourselves. In fact, our tradition calls upon us to express ourselves regularly, to speak out against injustice, to intercede on behalf of others, to offer meaningful thoughts and ideas to the world, to teach our children, to teach our parents, to share joy and pain. But like Moses' words to the Israelites on the banks of the Jordan, these expressions fulfill an essential purpose, and so must ours. The problem occurs when we grow accustomed to a world that gives voice to unneeded ideas. Jokes about someone else's outfit, or criticism of a friend's parenting choices, the lies we use to win an inconsequential argument, snide remarks about a coworker. What grander purpose do they serve? What future do they point us toward? A woman poignantly illustrated the danger of our words when she shared a story about going to a dance as a teenager. My mother was waiting for me when I came home, she wrote. But instead of telling her I had a great time, I regaled her with a scathing description of some incredible nerd who tried to dance with me. In essence, I said that this guy had a lot of nerve to expect anyone to dance with a person as weird and as ugly as he was. When I finished my tirade, my mom says, "You know, this boy you find ugly and weird is some mother's pride and joy. She waited for him to come home, just like I waited for you, hoping to hear that he'd had a nice time at the dance. But when he came home, she saw his face. She knew someone had hurt him, and it broke her heart. So the next time a boy asks you to dance, before you turn him down or make fun of him, just remember, every boy is some mother's son, and every girl is some mother's daughter." The woman posted those words from her mother in her college dorm as a reminder to use her words with kindness. Judaism cares about the words we use, partially because it cares about the lasting impact they have, not just upon the people we speak about, but also upon the people who speak them, the people who hear them, and the people who overhear them. If we want to wake up in a world one day without gossip columns, without hate-filled diatribes on Twitter, without deceitful news broadcasts, without faked movie reviews, without swastikas, without white hoods, then unfortunately we have to begin ourselves by recognizing our words for the weapons that they truly are, by living in the world that we wish to see, by imbuing our words with a sacred purpose, to uplift and never to tear down. As the recently late author Toni Morrison once said, "Oppressive language does more than represent violence. It is violence. It does more than represent the limits of knowledge. It limits knowledge." As we go forth into Shabbat, may we resolve to remember the power of our words, and to guard our speech from evil and our lips from deception, before we find our world little more than feathers scattered to the winds. Shabbat Shalom.